I was flipping through Italian TV channels when I stumbled upon an episode of They Killed Spider-Man, a biographical music drama about the band 883, one of the most famous bands in the history of Italian music. The title comes from one of their most iconic songs, and the series itself has been showered with praise in the Italian press. It holds an average rating above 8 and 4.5 stars out of 5, and Vanity Fair Italy even called it a masterpiece of writing that will conquer everyone, even those who aren't fans of the group. So I watched it, and what I realized is not just what this show is, but what it represents. The core problem with Italian film and television today. This series, celebrated as a triumph, is actually a perfect example of what is holding the Italian industry back. But let's break it down. For this analysis, I'll focus on the final episode from the first season. The final episode of a season should be climactic, cathartic, charged with conflict, and filled with dynamic action. Here, that never happens, not in the finale, nor in any other episode. After the opening credits, the first real scene starts at minute 6:51. From there until minute 8, the protagonist and his love interest just sit in a car and talk. No movement, no action. At minute 8:23, another scene. Two characters stand at an arcade. For a full minute, they don't even pretend to play. They just stand still and talk. At 9:59, back in the car, more sitting still and talking. From 12:09 to minute 14 and 13 seconds, outside a bar, standing still and talking. 14:16 to 14:59, same thing. 15 to 16:49, the protagonist and his love interest talk on the phone, standing still or sitting still. You kind of see where this is going, but let's keep going. From 20:57 to 22:53, the protagonist and another girl sit still and talk until his phone rings. At 23:05, he's on the phone. He stands still and talks for over a minute. Only at the very end of the scene is there the tiniest bit of movement. From 24:48 to 26:27, three characters sit still and talk, while a fourth just stands silently in the background. From 26:28 to 28:10, same setup. Sitting, standing, talking. No action. From 28:11 to 30:11, again, two characters sit still and talk. Even the scene where the two main characters rehearse for their big concert, which should be dynamic, full of energy, choreography, music, and movement, is reduced to them just standing around and talking. From 32:15 to 44:30, they sit on the couch and talk. And from 37:57 to 41:48, more sitting still, more just talking. And then we arrive to the so-called climax of the season, the big concert, the moment that's supposed to mark a turning point in the band's career. This should be emotional, cathartic, and powerful. Instead, it's flat. There's no real conflict, no subtext, no dramatic tension. They just sing. And even in that moment, they barely move. The scene is anti-climactic, offering no payoff for the season we've just watched. The ending image is no better. The protagonist resolves his emotional conflict with his love interest, not through action, not through a movement or revelation or change, but just by sitting next to her by the pool. Once again, no movement, just talk. And this is the core of the problem. The entire episode is nothing but people standing or sitting still and talking. No action, no physicality, no dynamism. In screenwriting, one of the most basic principles is that motion is emotion. Characters don't reveal themselves only through words. They reveal themselves through what they do, how they move, how they interact with the world around them. If a character is jealous, they don't just say they're jealous. Maybe they slam a door. Maybe they light a cigarette with trembling hands. Maybe they step closer or further away. If a character's in love, they don't need to recite lines about it. Their body language, their gestures, the way they act in space says it louder than words. Show, don't tell. But when characters only sit or stand still and talk with no action tied to their psychology, they become flat. Their dialogue quickly loses weight because it isn't grounded in a behavior. A script like this ends up feeling static, closer to a stage play than to a visual medium like cinema or television. This is why the show collapses dramatically, because every scene relies exclusively on dialogue to carry meaning, while stripping away the essential truth of the screen, that stories live in movement, in conflict, in action. A Complete Unknown is also a biomusic drama from the same year, and it also has scenes where the conflict is driven by dialogue, such as this one right here. But as they talk, the characters still have action tied to them. As she tries talking to him, Bob Dylan here is trying out his new song. And even when he stops writing or playing his guitar, he smokes a cigarette, and their dialogue ends as he leaves the room. And just like They Killed Spider-Man, the climax of A Complete Unknown is also a concert, and a big one. In this concert, as Bob and his band play, the audience wants to boo them off the stage. There's a desire and a major obstacle. This is a powerful climax. No such thing happens in the Italian TV show. Now, to be clear, a dialogue-driven scene can absolutely work. A well-written, well-acted exchange can be riveting, even if the characters barely move. But when an entire film or series almost exclusively relies on people sitting or standing still and talking, that's not craftsmanship, that's lazy writing. Without action, without emotion, without conflict, dialogue quickly loses its impact and the story flatlines. And that's the real takeaway here. They Killed Spider-Man isn't just a flawed series, it's a symptom of a broader problem in Italian film and television storytelling. Too often, productions lean on static dialogue, mistaking words for drama, when cinema is, as its core, about movement. Motion is emotion. These are moving images. The camera is supposed to capture life in action, gestures, bodies, choices, conflict played out in space. When you strip that away and reduce everything to people sitting still and talking, you're not taking advantage of the medium, you're flattening it. The success of this series in the local press only underlines the problem. A critical culture that celebrates passivity on screen rather than demanding stories that breathe, move, and risk something. Until Italian cinema and television embrace the simple truth that emotion is born through action, they'll continue producing works that may talk a lot, but ultimately say very little.